The lesson for today is finding for interest values not in the table. So if you had an interest, let's say, for example, 3.5%, that was not in the table, how do you look for the table factor? The solution is actually very simple. First, you have to look for the table factors of interest values immediately before and immediately after the interest value 3.5. So if you look at your table, for example, you get the table factor for the interest value at 3%, which is immediately before, and also the interest value or the table factor for an interest value of 4%, which is immediately after. Okay? And then when you get the table factors, then we will work on the table factor of 3.5% via interpolation or via ratio and proportion. So how does that work? Again, you look at your table, you look at your table values, and you look for interest, where interest is 3%. Of course, you didn't know what the table factor is for 3.5%, and that is what we're looking for. And then we look for the table factor at 4%. Let's say we fix n at 10. Now, if you look at your table, you can see that the value of the table factor for I is equal to 3% and n is equal to 10 is 8.53. That is the table factor that corresponds to 3% and n is equal to 10. And then look for the table factor at 4%, which is, if you look for the table factor for 4% and n is equal to 10, that is 8.11. So the question is, what is the table factor for 3.5? Okay, so now we work on ratio and proportions. What we do is set it up this way. 3%, this is our interest, and this is our table factor. That is 3%. At 3%, it is 8.53. We don't know what it is at 3.5%, but we know what it is at 4%. That is 8.11. So somehow the table factor for 3.5% should be somewhere between 8.53 and 8.11. And the way we solve this is via ratio and proportion. This, let's say this is A, B, C. C minus A over B minus A should also be the same as, if this is also A, B, C, should also be the same as, in this side of the equation, C minus A over B minus A. So if we set up the equation, that is 4% minus 3% over B minus A is 3.5% minus 3% should be equal to, in this side of the equation, 8.11 minus 8.53. Let's say this is x and this is what we are looking for. then therefore this should also be, your divisor here should then therefore be x minus 8.53. And working on that equation, 4% minus 3% is 1%. 3.5 minus 3 is 0.5 is equal to, we said earlier that if we look at this, 8.11 minus 8.53 over x minus 8.53. So 8.11 minus 8.53 divided by x minus 8.53. In case you didn't get this side of the equation, that is in a previous work, that's 4% minus 3% divided by 3.5 minus 3%, or this is equal to 1 and this is equal to 0.5. So therefore we have here 1 divided by 0.5, and so therefore we know that that is on the left side, that is equivalent to 2 is equal to 8.11 minus 8.53 is minus 0.43 divided by x minus 8.53, and then therefore solving for x is equal to minus 0.43 divided by 2 plus 8.53. Then therefore that is equal to 8.53 minus this quantity here is 0.215, and therefore the answer is 8.53. Let me get that. 8.53 minus 0.215 therefore that is 8.315. So therefore, if we go back to our original problem, then therefore we are able to solve for this, and that is 8.315. If you notice, just for a check, this number here, 8.315, should be somewhere in between this value here, and it should be less than that, or I'm sorry, it should be less than that, but and this one here should be greater than this value here. And we know for a fact that this value, this one, should be somewhere in between 8.11 here and 8.53 here. So just to check, 8.315 is between 8.53 and 8.11. Alright, and the direction is from this going here the values are becoming smaller, and then therefore 8.53, then to 8.315, and then 8.11 is consistent. Then 8.315 is the correct answer.